If I told you there was a retirement account where the money goes in tax-free, it grows tax-free, and can come out tax-free, most people would assume there's got to be a catch somewhere. There isn't. In fact, after age 65, this account becomes more flexible, not less. And yet millions of people who qualify for it are using it like a checking account. They spend it, empty it, and never find out what it could have become today. I want to show you why many financial professionals consider this the most powerful retirement account there is. Now, look, before we get into how it works, let me just plant a little number in your mind. Most people think they know what their HSA is worth. They look at the balance, $5,000, $10,000, $20,000, whatever the number happens to be. That isn't the number. The real number is much, much larger, and it has nothing to do with the stock market or being able to pick better mutual funds. By the end of this video, you'll know what the real number actually is. Now, let me give you an example of a woman in her mid-50s. She had been on a family high deductible health plan for years. Every year, she faithfully contributed to her HSA. Every year she spent it. Doctor visits, prescription, dental bills, eye exam. By December, the account was usually close to zero. And she thought that was exactly what the account was for. Nobody had ever told her otherwise. Then she sat down with a financial planner who asked her a really simple question. Why are you spending the HSA? Because that's what it's for, she said. He showed her something she'd never seen before. Now, her contributions went in before taxes. The growth inside the account was tax-free, and qualified medical withdrawals were tax-free. 3 separate tax advantages on one account. Most retirement accounts give you one, some maybe 2. This one gives you all 3. Now, not everyone qualifies. You need to be on a high deductible health plan, but if you are, everything I'm going to talk about in this video, it applies to you. The moment she saw what she actually owned, she stopped thinking of it as a spending account and started thinking of it as a retirement account. Here's why I want you to understand this account yourself. Don't just trust someone else to manage it. The best decisions always come from people who know what they actually own. Look, that doesn't replace your CPA, your advisor, or a software tool like Bolden. It makes every one of those conversations better. Look, if that's new information to you, that's exactly why I've got this channel, to find out parts of your retirement plan that nobody ever really explained. Would you subscribe? Because that's what we do here every single week. Now, if you've ever had a flexible spending account, FSA, through work, this might sound vaguely familiar and maybe a little risky. With an FSA, the rule is simple. Use it or lose it. Whatever's left at the end of the year, it disappears. The account, it belongs to your employer, not you. An HSA works nothing like that. There is no spending deadline. There is no clock running out. The money is yours, not your employer's, and it follows you from job to job for the rest of your life. That's not a small distinction. It's the difference between a spending account and an actual retirement account. That difference is the entire reason everything else in this video is even possible in the first place. Most people think an HSA covers a few basic things. Hey, a doctor visit, a prescription, maybe urgent care. The actual list is really much longer. Routine care, doctor visits, specialists, hospital bills, lab work, surgery, dental, cleanings, fillings, crowns, root canals, even orthodontics, vision, eye exams, glasses, contacts. Most of these are expenses you're already paying for. The only question is which dollars you're using to pay for them. So hearing aids, The batteries that you use to keep them running, a good set, what does that run you? Anywhere from $2,000 to $7,000 in this account, tax-free. Mental health counseling, physical therapy, chiropractic programs, programs to quit smoking or manage some kind of an addiction. And the ones almost nobody thinks of. As we get older, there are some things like CPAP equipment, walkers, wheelchairs, medical monitoring devices, even some specific home modifications tied to a medical condition. Long-term care insurance, premiums up to the IRS limits and after 65, Medicare Part B and Part D. Millions of retirees pay these costs every year with fully taxable dollars when they could be paying them tax-free. A lot of what you already spend money on, this account was quietly built to cover. So tell me, what's the largest medical expense that you've paid out of pocket for in the last 5 years? Dental work, hearing aids, a surgery? Drop it below. Okay, there's a good chance this account could have covered that expense. If you want to see what a strategy like this is actually worth with your own numbers, that's exactly why we built the Retirement Reality Check. Drop your email over at brainflash.com and it comes straight to your inbox. Now, let's go back to the question from the beginning. What is this account actually worth? Let's imagine someone, they start at 50. They contribute, let's call it $9,000 a year. They invest it, and instead of spending the HSA, they pay their current medical expenses out of regular cash flow. 15 years pass. They reach 65 years old. Now what happens? At a reasonable, let's call it a 7% conservative return. Nothing really extraordinary. No lucky stock picks. That balance could easily be well over $200,000 and in many cases approaching $250,000. But here's the part most people miss. During those same 15 years, they paid medical expenses out of pocket and they kept every single receipt because under current IRS rules, there's no requirement that reimbursement happen right away. What does that mean? Well, 15 years later, they can reimburse themselves for those old expenses tax-free on top of everything the account has already grown to, not because they sold an investment, not because they found some loophole in the regs, simply because they kept their receipts. So here's the real number. It isn't the balance on the statement. It's the balance plus the future tax-free medical spending power plus every receipt still sitting there waiting to be reimbursed. That's the number most people never calculate in the first place. Now, let's talk about what happens after you're age 65. This is where people get a little bit confused. Medical withdrawals stay tax-free forever. That part never changes. One thing does change though. The moment Medicare Part A activates, your contributions, they have to stop to your HSA. But every dollar already in the account keeps growing exactly the same way. And if you've overfunded it, after 65, your non-medical withdrawals, they're allowed as well. You just pay ordinary income tax the same way any distribution from a traditional IRA. No penalty, no disaster. So in the best case, you use it for healthcare completely, 100% tax-free. Worst case, guess what? It behaves like a traditional retirement account. That's a really remarkably good worst case, which is why there's really no wrong way to overfund this account. This account, it doesn't get more restrictive as you get older. It gets more flexible. It gives you more options, not less. So let's go back to the woman earlier in our video. For years, she thought the HSA was just another spending account, contribute, spend, repeat. What changed wasn't the account. It was always this powerful. What changed was her understanding of how she could use that account. Look, if you never put another dollar into your 401k, your retirement probably survives. If you never put another dollar into your Roth, your retirement probably survives. But if you're eligible for this account and you ignore it for the next, let's call it 10 years, you may be walking past one of the most tax efficient accounts available to you. The number on the statement, it isn't the story. The story is what the money can actually do. Tax-free healthcare, tax-free Medicare premiums, tax-free reimbursement for expenses you paid years ago, tax-free growth the entire time. Look, the knowledge is yours. The plan is yours. Look, nobody is ever going to care more about your retirement than you will. This is Brain Flash.